Revealed, the heartwarming journey of a fat Omega finding life-changing love with the Alpha King, in the quaint town of Maplewood, where every window held a story and the scent of fresh pie floated in the air. Lucy's heart beat louder than the clanging of pots and pans in her family's diner. At just 25, she carried dreams as vast as the open sky but felt the weight of her insecurities like a heavy coat. Her laughter was the favorite sound of the diner, where locals gathered, sharing stories and comfort food, but beneath that joy lay a longing for acceptance. It was Friday night, and under the bright stadium lights, the town's excitement crackled like fireworks. The high school football game brought out the crowd, but Lucy's eyes were drawn to Jake, the quarterback swathed in glory. He was everything: charm, talent, and the hero Maplewood adored. For Lucy, he was a walking impossibility, a star beyond her reach. Their worlds collided at the diner, unexpected yet electric. One fateful evening, as Lucy delivered a round of burgers, their eyes met. She felt a jolt, an instant spark amidst the familiar clang of kitchen utensils and the rich aroma of frying burgers. Her cheeks flushed, and for a moment, she forgot the whispers about her size. With every laugh they shared, their bond grew, like the sweet aroma of fresh coffee swirling in the air around them. Yet, the whispers were there, always lurking. The small-town gossip would turn as quickly as the seasons. When a flashy newcomer slinked into town, armed with plans to transform the diner, the gossip started brewing. Maplewood buzzed with uncertainty, and Lucy felt the familiar dread bubbling deep inside her. What if this was the moment she lost her family's legacy? The diner was not just a business, it was her heart, her grounding. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as the town faced a crisis, a storm that rolled in with ferocity, uprooting lives and shaking foundations, all tensions erupted. Neighbors united, revealing a spirit of resilience Lucy never knew existed. As they rallied together, something amazing began to stir within her. With each gathering at the diner to support one another, she felt empowered, her voice rising through the chaos like a song of hope. Just when she began to believe in herself, she was faced with a monumental choice. Stay in the comfort of the diner, where love was growing with Jake, or step boldly into the unknown, risking everything for her dreams. The townsfolk whispered doubts, but deep down, Lucy felt a flame igniting. As the diner buzzed with life, Lucy stood nervously amidst the familiar faces, her pulse racing. The door swung open, and there stood Jake, determination in his eyes. With the pressure of love and expectation heavy in the room, Lucy took a deep breath. Would she leap into the unknown, challenging the world for her dreams and love? Or would she retreat into the safety of what she knew? The clock ticked loudly, anticipation hanging thick in the air, waiting for an answer. The diner's familiar chatter faded as Lucy locked eyes with Jake. Time seemed to pause, the world outside melted away, and there was only the two of them. The weight of her decision pressed harder than ever. She could see the hope in Jake's gaze, his brows slightly furrowed, the corners of his mouth pulling into a soft, encouraging smile. In that moment, it was as if he was silently urging her to take the leap. No more hiding, no more letting fear dictate her life. "Lucy," he said softly, his voice cutting through the din. "What is going on in that beautiful head of yours?" Her heart raced, vulnerability washing over her like a warm tide. How could she admit the fear that stopped her in her tracks? The uncertainty of venturing out from the comfort she had always known? I just don't know if I can," she stammered, each word feeling like a rock thrown into a still pond, sending ripples of doubt. "What if I fail? What if I lose everything?" Jake took a step closer, the warmth of his presence wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. "But what if you don't? What if this is the moment when everything changes for you? For us?" His words struck a chord, igniting something deep inside her. She remembered the unity they had witnessed in the face of the storm. Neighbors helping one another, sharing laughter and tears, reminding each other that they were stronger together. What if dreams don't just happen in our heads? Jake continued, his passionate intent clear. What if they become real? With every risk we take, we embrace the opportunity for something beautiful. In that instant, Lucy felt the temperature in the room shift. The diner around her, bustling with laughter and warmth, transformed into a space of possibility. Her heart thudded, she couldn't let fear win. She had struggled for respect and acceptance, and now, she needed to respect herself. Jake reached out, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. The tenderness in his gesture made her heart flutter, igniting a hope she thought she had buried. What do you say? We face this together? I believe in us. The sincerity in his eyes made her breath hitch. Jake wasn't just the town's golden boy, he was so much more. He was the anchor she had been searching for in the storm of her insecurities. Slowly, she nodded, a small, tentative smile breaking through the clouds of her uncertainty. Okay, let's do it. Let us chase our dreams together. Cheers erupted around them, the crowd in the diner sensing the shift in the air. Voices became a chorus of support, and Lucy felt the weight of their affection lift her spirit. She had chosen to step forward, into the unknown with Jake by her side, ready to embrace whatever came next. As the waves of joy washed over her, Lucy felt alive. She was ready to fight for her dreams, to protect the legacy of the diner, and fiercely hold on to the love blooming between her and Jake. Together, they would face whatever came their way. Just then, a commotion erupted outside. The excitement turned to whispers of surprise as headlights pierced through the diner windows. A truck rolled into the lot, emblazoned with the name of the very newcomer who threatened to uproot everything she had fought for. Lucy's heart sank as anxiety clawed back at her. Was this the challenge she was ready to face, or a sign of another impending storm? With her heart racing, she braced herself for what would happen next. The truck's engine growled to a halt, shattering the buzz of excitement in the diner. Lucy's palms felt clammy as she turned to the window, the cheerful chatter around her fading into a haunting murmur. Her stomach twisted at the sight of the new arrival. It was bigger than any truck she'd seen before, meant for heavy lifting and heavy competition. The name painted on its side struck her like a bolt of lightning, Riverside Development. Who is that? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the sudden silence that enveloped the diner. Jake followed her gaze, his expression shifting. I don't know, but I have a bad feeling about it. Lucy's heart sank further. She had heard the townsfolk murmuring about plans to develop the land where the diner stood, turning their little piece of home into something unfamiliar. The legacy of her family, the warmth of laughter and shared meals, was all at stake. Losing the diner meant losing a part of herself. As the truck's door creaked open, a figure stepped out, silhouetted against the bright lights. He wore a crisp suit, exuding confidence that was hard to ignore. Lucy squinted, trying to make out the newcomer's features, but even from a distance, she could see the arrogance in his stance. The way he surveyed the area made her blood boil. Looks like he's here to stir things up, Jake muttered, his brow furrowed as he leaned closer to Lucy. Maybe we should go talk to him, she suggested, half hopeful, half terrified at the prospect. If she didn't stand her ground now, would she ever have the courage to do it? You're brave for considering it, Jake said softly, but the worry in his eyes mirrored her own fears. Just remember, you're not alone. We'll figure this out together. Lucy nodded, clutching at the edge of the table, her knuckles white from the effort. A deep breath steadied her, and for the first time since she'd made her decision with Jake, she felt a flicker of determination. Whatever this newcomer had planned, she would not go down without a fight. Rising from her seat, she took a step toward the door, her heart pounding with each stride. The diner's regulars watched with a mix of support and concern, their gazes like gentle nudges pushing her forward. As she stepped into the chilly night air, a shiver raced down her spine, not from the temperature, but from the looming uncertainty ahead. The man from the truck turned to face her, a smirk already forming on his lips. He looked every bit like the opportunist she feared he would be. You must be Lucy, he said, his voice smooth like butter. I hear you're quite attached to this old place. What do you want? She asked, defiantly crossing her arms. Just wanting to talk about the future. Big plans are on the horizon for this town, and it looks like you might be in the way. His words sunk into her like a stone. In that moment, two worlds collided, her love for the diner and the harsh reality of a future that threatened to strip it all away. But she wouldn't back down. The diner isn't just a building, it's a home for many. You can't just come in and take it away. He chuckled, the sound like nails on a chalkboard. We'll see about that, Lucy. Plans are already in motion. As he turned to walk away, Lucy felt her resolve solidify. She had to protect her family's legacy, no matter the cost. But could she rally the town, rally Jake, to stand with her against the tide that threatened to swallow them whole? I won't give up, she whispered to herself, determination igniting a flame within her. With renewed purpose, she turned back to Jake, who had followed her outside. We need a plan. We can't let him win. The warmth of his hand found hers, grounding her amidst the storm brewing in her heart. They were in this together. But as their eyes met, the shadows of doubt loomed larger. Would they have enough strength to fight against the storm? Would love be enough to shield them from the looming threat of loss? The answers seemed just out of reach, and they would have to find them together. The air was thick with tension as Lucy and Jake stood outside the diner, the faint hum of the truck's engine still echoing in her ears. The murmurs from the diners faded into the background, replaced by the sound of her racing heartbeat. Lucy inhaled deeply, steeling herself. She felt the weight of every gaze resting upon her, urging her to act. What now? Jake asked, his thumb brushing over the back of her hand, a comforting connection in the uneasy atmosphere. We need to gather everyone, she said, determination flickering in her blue eyes. If we're going to protect this place, we need the whole town on our side. It's not just my fight, it's theirs too. I can help, he replied quickly. I'll talk to my dad. He has contacts, people who've been around long enough to remember why this diner means so much to us. Lucy nodded, her thoughts racing. Every moment felt crucial. She could already envision the town hall meeting, the diner buzzing with energy as people united for a common cause. Their stories, their lives intertwined in this small corner of the world, were worth fighting for. She glanced back at the diner, its neon sign casting a soft glow that felt like home. Let us do it. Let us show them we won't go quietly, she declared, and a fire sparked within her. As they walked back inside, the atmosphere shifted. The regulars turned to them, expectant and worried. It wasn't just Lucy who felt the pulse of anxiety, it was everyone. It was their diner, their community, and now, their love that was on the line. Jake stepped forward, his voice strong despite the uncertainty that hung in the air. Hey everyone, can we have your attention? Silence fell as the voices quieted, the clinking of silverware faint against the sudden stillness. Lucy felt all eyes on her, the weight of them heavy but energizing. She took a breath, gathering her thoughts. I know things just got serious with that guy and his plans. But this diner isn't just a building for us. It's where we celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and simply gathered for good food and good company. Nods spread through the crowd like ripples in water. She could see the strength written in their eyes, the shared love for a place that had seen generations come and go. I propose a meeting, she continued, heart racing but voice steady. We need to strategize, to come together as a community. If we don't stand up for what matters, we'll lose it forever. A voice from the back rang out, breaking through the silence. I'm in, Lucy. This diner is part of my family story. Yeah. We can't let anyone take our home. Another added, emboldened by their responses. Lucy felt hope surge within her. Let us schedule a town meeting for tomorrow evening. We'll figure out how to fight back together. As applause erupted, a wave of reassurance washed over her. She wasn't alone. They believed in her, and that made her fight feel all the more worthwhile. Once the noise settled again, she caught Jake's eye across the room. His smile was bright, full of pride and encouragement. Her heart swelled. Amidst the chaos, he was her anchor, but before they could fully celebrate their small victory, the diner door swung open, and in walked the man from the truck, a calculated grin plastered on his face. "Hope I'm not interrupting," he chimed, his eyes scanning the crowd as if he already knew their deliberations. Lucy's breath caught. The moment had come much sooner than she expected. How would they face him now? "Looks like you're all rallying for something." "How quaint," he sneered, letting his words linger in the air. Poison that dripped like ice. She locked her jaw, determination flooding her veins once more. This was going to be a showdown, and she had to keep her ground. "Actually," she said, voice firm, "we were just discussing how we planned to keep our home." The smirk faltered, as if he hadn't prepared to meet such resolve. "Well, I hope you're ready for a challenge," he replied, his tone oily with sarcasm. The atmosphere turned again, the air crisp with tension. Lucy realized she was staring into the heart of the storm, but would her community's strength be enough to weather it? As the moment bulged with potential, Lucy's pulse quickened. Whatever happened next would shape their futures. Would they emerge together, unscathed and powerful, or would they crumble under the weight of his ambition? The answer loomed just ahead. The man's grin widened, almost mocking, as he leaned casually against the doorframe, crossing his arms. The diner was suddenly too small for the tension that filled it, a storm of uncertainty swirling in Lucy's chest. She stood firm, holding her ground. "You seem pretty confident for someone facing a big change," he taunted, his eyes glinting. It was a game to him, she could sense it. "Because we have something you don't," Lucy shot back, every word charged with emotion. She felt the support of her friends and neighbors woven into her resolve. "We have heart. This diner isn't just bricks and mortar. It's memories, laughter, and a million moments that can't be replaced." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd behind her, people nodding, fists clenched in determination. Jake moved to stand next to her, a solid presence that steadied her further. The man's gaze flickered. "Heart won't stop a bulldozer, Lucy. You think your little town meeting is going to change anything?" "Maybe not," she conceded, her heart racing, "but it's a start. Every journey begins with a single step. And we're taking that step together." The crowd responded with quiet applause, their unity palpable as Lucy realized what she was doing. She was not just defending the diner, she was igniting a resistance against the power that threatened to erase everything they cherished. "Enough with the theatrics," he finally snapped, irritation creeping into his voice. "You all think you're special, but trust me, this isn't personal. It's business. And I play to win." A flicker of fear rippled through the patrons like a cold wind, but Lucy held her ground. "Maybe to you it's just business, but to us, it's everything. We won't back down." He chuckled, shaking his head, as if her bravery was laughable. "Fine. Let us see how far that bravado gets you." With that, he turned sharply on his heel and walked out, the door swinging shut with a definitive thud that echoed through the diner, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. Lucy exhaled, the adrenaline of confrontation still coursing through her veins. She met Jake's gaze, a swell of relief mingling with the weight of what lay ahead. "We need to prepare," he said quietly, glancing at the others to gauge their reactions. "If he's serious about this, we might need more than just our stories." Lucy nodded, realizing that their heartfelt defense was just the beginning. "You're right. Tomorrow won't just be a meeting, it'll be a call to arms." Slowly, conversation began to bubble up again. Ideas were exchanged, names of volunteers thrown into the air. The energy shifted from fear to purpose, and in that moment, Lucy felt the flame of her resolve reignite. As she looked around, she felt the warmth of community wrapping around her like a familiar blanket, reminding her why they were fighting. It was about more than just a diner. It was about home, family, and refusing to let an outsider strip it away. "Let us make a plan," Lucy announced, her voice gaining strength. "We'll document our stories, gather signatures, do whatever it takes. And when we come together tomorrow, we'll show him just what this diner means to us." They shared a newfound energy, faces alight with determination. Hope glimmered in the air, promising strength in their unity, but as the discussions grew louder, Lucy glanced nervously at the door. She couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation was just the prelude to something far more intense. What would happen when they faced the man again? Would their resolve be enough to withstand the storm he would undoubtedly bring? And as the night deepened, one question loomed larger than the rest. Was she truly prepared to fight for everything she loved? Morning light streamed through the diner's windows, spilling warmth across the worn wooden tables. Lucy stood at the counter, her heart racing with anticipation. Today felt different. The whole town buzzed with urgency, a palpable undercurrent of determination electrifying the air as folks trickled in. Jake arrived first, his hair tousled but a fire in his eyes. "Ready?" he asked, rolling up his sleeves like a soldier preparing for battle. "As I'll ever be," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. She poured coffee, the familiar aroma grounding her, each sip bolstering her belief in the small victories they could achieve against overwhelming odds. Soon, familiar faces filled the diner. Mrs. Tanner, with her ever-cheerful smile despite an endless list of hardships, Tom, the local carpenter, who was more at home with sawdust than politics, and young Mia, her eyes wide with the innocence of childhood. They all had something to fight for. Lucy felt it, their collective heartbeat, a rhythm that thrummed loudly in her ears. In unison, they began to share their stories. Tom spoke of the memories made in this diner, the late-night burgers after a tough week, the laughter shared during Sunday brunch with family. Mrs. Tanner held back tears as she recounted her late husband's last birthday celebration here, surrounded by friends and full of life. Each tale added weight to their cause, each moment a thread weaving tighter the fabric of their community. As the stories poured out, Lucy stepped back, allowing for others to take the lead. She wanted to listen, to absorb the strength that these memories held. Yet a nagging worry lingered. She could practically feel that man's presence even when he wasn't there. What if anger disconnected them? What if the memories weren't enough? When the sun reached its peak, the diner buzzed with anticipation. Word spread that the meeting was set for the park, a bigger space where their voices could unite and echo. Lucy felt a lump in her throat at the thought of everyone rallying for one cause. "Time to gather our signatures," Jake said, breaking her reverie. "Let us hit the streets. Show them we mean business." She took a deep breath, suddenly overwhelmed by how much was at stake. What if they failed? But then, she saw the faces around her. Hope blinked in each pair of eyes, reflecting her own determination. They marched out of the diner, armed with pens, papers, and most importantly, the stories that would resonate with all who listened. As they made their way through the town, Lucy felt the weight of each signature they gathered. People chimed in, sharing their own stories, connecting dots she'd never seen before. A shared meal here, a birthday celebration there. It wasn't just the diner they were fighting for, it was their way of life, their roots interwoven in the very fabric of that establishment. Still, doubt crept in. While hope surged like wildfire among them, the reality of the upcoming confrontation weighed on Lucy's heart. As the sun began to dip low in the sky, painting the world in hues of orange and pink, the town appeared shadowed behind the specter of conflict looming ahead. What if their heartfelt stories could turn the tide? What if they weren't enough? Maybe the world would listen, or maybe it would remain unmoved. And deep down, Lucy knew that the true test was yet to come. As the crowd gathered at the park, anticipation thickened like the air before a storm. Would their voices harmonize perfectly, or would they falter when faced with the real battle? The moment was fast approaching, and Lucy's resolve hardened. Whatever happened next, she would be ready to face the consequences, knowing she had a community at her back. But just then, a familiar figure appeared at the edge of the crowd, and Lucy's heart dropped. It was the man from the diner, and he had brought reinforcements. What was he plotting now? This battle was just beginning. The murmurs of the crowd shifted as the man stepped forward, flanked by two menacing figures. Lucy's pulse quickened. Instinct screamed at her to retreat, but she stayed put. This wasn't just about her anymore. Jake glanced at her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "Lucy, what do we do?" She swallowed hard, determined not to let fear dictate her actions. "We stand together," she said, her voice rising above the growing tension. "This isn't just our diner, it's our home. We have every right to protect it." As if on cue, other members of the crowd began to rally around her, their resolve solidifying like concrete. Even Mrs. Tanner stepped forward, her hands clenched into fists as she met the invasive man's gaze. "You can't take away what we've built here," she said fiercely. The man simply smiled, an unsettling gesture that amplified the tension among the townsfolk. He glanced at his associates and then back to the gathering, as if assessing the collective strength of the community standing before him. "Oh, but don't you see? This isn't about taking. This is about the future, a future I can offer that's far brighter than you can imagine," he sneered. The crowd shifted restlessly, glancing at Lucy as if seeking her guidance. She could sense their uncertainty, that tiny flicker of doubt that could extinguish their fire. "His future isn't our future," she stated, letting her voice cut through the murmurs. "We know what matters here. We know what's worth fighting for." The weight of her words hung in the air as another familiar face joined the throng. It was Tom, carrying an old, faded photograph of the diner during happier times families gathered, laughter bubbling over the clinking of glasses. "Look at this," he called out, holding it high. "This is our history, etched in every table and chair. It's not just a building, it's our memories." With that, a spark ignited among the crowd. People dug into their pasts, sharing snippets of joy and satisfaction that the diner represented. Laughter bubbled over, filling the park with warmth and defiance. With every story told, they strengthened their bond, pushing back against the chilling presence of the man and his cohorts, but the man's expression remained unchanged. "You think mere memories are enough to stand against progress?" he barked, his tone biting. "What you have is small, insignificant compared to what I could offer. Think of the opportunities, the investment. You're operating out of nostalgia, while I'm offering a future." Nostalgia, that word hung in Lucy's mind, echoing like a drumbeat. This wasn't just about the diner, it was about something deeper. It was about identity, about community, and the shared bonds that had formed through years of hardship and joy. She felt a surge of confidence fill her, swelling her chest like a shield. "Your future doesn't matter if it erases our past," she shot back. "We're not going to kneel to your vision of progress that only serves you." A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd, emboldening her further. The man's composure cracked for a moment. "You will regret this," he warned, venom dripping from his words. But Lucy could see it in his eyes, he was losing them. The warmth was pressing against his icy facade, the chants rose, voices blending into a chorus of defiance. "Save our diner. Save our home." They echoed through the park, growing in fervor, and Lucy stood at the heart of it, feeling strength from those around her. Even as the man turned to leave, she saw a glimmer of defeat behind his mockery. But in that instant, her heart brimmed with an unfamiliar awareness. Their stories held power, but so did their unity. As the crowd erupted with renewed vigor, Lucy found herself looking toward the horizon, feeling the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Yet, despite the momentum, she couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation was merely the opening act. What if their voices could unite again and create an even bigger wave of change? Would it be enough? Just as those questions began to settle in her mind, a soft voice broke through the chaos. Mia, holding on to her mother's hand, stepped forward bravely. "But what happens if we win?" Lucy glanced down, her heart swelling. That innocent query echoed in the silence that followed. The man was gone, but the fight was far from over, and the future felt foggy. "Maybe we fight for something we've never dared to dream," Lucy whispered, the enormity of their struggle weighing heavily. As the crowd buzzed with excitement, an unsettling sense of clarity washed over her. Whatever lay ahead, it wouldn't just be about keeping the diner, it would mean redefining their community, but what possibilities awaited if they crossed that threshold? Lucy felt a mixture of hope and fear as they prepared for their next steps. Could they face the mounting challenges ahead together? The crowd continued to thrum with energy after the confrontation, voices vibrant with hope. Lucy felt that what they had ignited was just the tip of an emotional volcano ready to erupt. Each face was a canvas of determination. Fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, they all came here today not just for the diner, but for each other. As Mia looked up at Lucy with wide, trusting eyes, a wave of responsibility surged within her. "What happens if we win?" echoed in her mind, demanding an answer. Winning felt far away, yet Lucy knew they had to take one step at a time. She drew a deep breath, thinking of the old diner, the countless meals shared and laughter exchanged. Winning means we keep our dreams alive, she said, her words steady as she addressed the crowd. It means we honor the memories that built the foundation of our community. But it also means we open ourselves to the future we can create together. A low murmur of agreement rippled through the townsfolk, and Lucy could see that the spark she had ignited was now a fire spreading among them. It wasn't just about saving the diner. It was about defining who they really were. Mrs. Tanner stepped up next, her voice trembling slightly but bursting with conviction. We won't just save the diner, we will make it better. We'll host events, support local artists, and make this place a lifeline for our community. Cheers erupted, and Lucy could see momentum building. She recognized their collective need for more than just survival. They longed for connection, for dreams that reached beyond the diner's walls. What if we create a festival? Tom suggested, eyes gleaming with ideas. Call it Diner Days. We can showcase local talent, tell our stories, and involve everyone in shaping this place. Yes. A celebration of who we are. Lucy shouted, feeling the infectious energy wash over her. Laughter and applause circled the park, drawing in even those who had been reluctant to support them initially, but as she reveled in the exhilaration of this newfound hope, Lucy couldn't forget about the man and his empty promises. There was a shadow lurking at the edge of their victory. What if he returned, more determined than ever? What if he had allies she didn't know about? Listen, everyone. She called out, raising her hands to quiet the jubilant crowd. This is just the beginning, but we need to be vigilant. If he meant what he said, we might face more challenges ahead. The energy shifted, the tone more serious now. Lucy sensed uncertainty threading through the crowd like wind before a storm. It was time for clarity. But we can prepare. We'll gather stories, connect with local businesses, and create a strategy. We can't just fight, we need to show the world what our community stands for. Fists were raised in agreement, and Lucy felt a surge of pride. They were no longer just fighting for the diner, they were staking their claim on their identities, their future. As the sun began to dip low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the park, Lucy marveled at the sight around her. It felt almost surreal, like they were standing on the brink of a revolution. But what would it take to turn this wave of determination into lasting change? Suddenly, Mia pulled on Lucy's shirt, her small voice cutting through the silence. Can I help, too? I want to make banners. Lucy chuckled, kneeling down to meet her eye level, her heart overflowing with affection. Of course. We need everyone on board, no matter how small. We're all in this together. As the crowd erupted with new ideas, a deep sense of purpose enveloped Lucy. But beneath her excitement, the pressure weighed heavily. She felt the adrenaline of change rushing through her, yet that same thought clung to her heart: had they just awakened a storm? What if their unity invited more than they'd bargained for? Lucy's pulse quickened at the thought. The stakes were higher than ever, and she knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. As they began to discuss plans and dreams, Lucy wondered silently about the cost of their fight. Would they truly be ready for whatever came next? Would they stay as steadfast as they had shown today when the pressure mounted? With hope lighting a fire in her belly, she steeled herself. One thing was for sure: they were not alone in this anymore. And as their laughter filled the air once more, she couldn't help but wonder what kind of future they could create together, even amid uncertainty. But just then, a figure appeared on the horizon, a shadow against the flaming sky. Was it him again? Fear twisted in Lucy's stomach. The figure on the horizon was unmistakable. It cut through the twilight like a cold blade. Heart racing, Lucy squinted to see clearer, dread pooling in her stomach. There was no mistaking the familiar outline of Riley, the man whose ambitions had threatened everything they cherished. The crowd's laughter faded, eyes turning in his direction, uncertainty rippling through them like a sudden chill. Riley stood there, his silhouette dark against the fading light, shirt unbuttoned, glasses glinting ominously. He raised a hand, the gesture seeming casual, but Lucy could sense the underlying tension. This wasn't just about the diner anymore, it felt personal. She had ignited hope today, and now it felt fragile, hovering on the brink of something dangerous. Lucy. Riley's voice boomed out, strong and assertive. Let us talk. Just you and me. Gasps erupted among the crowd, and Lucy's heart thudded in her chest. No. Stay back. She shouted, instinctively stepping in front of the people she felt so fiercely protective of. You have no right to come here. But Riley wasn't dissuaded. I'm here for a reason. You think this is just about the diner? You're making a mistake if you think you can just rally everyone against me. His words dripped with contempt as he continued, you've riled them up, but only in the short term. What happens when the dust settles? Lucy felt like the ground was slipping away beneath her. Was he right? Would they be able to hold on to their momentum, or would they crumble under pressure? A glance around her revealed a mix of defiance and anxiety mirrored in the faces of her friends and neighbors. They were looking to her now for strength. Riley, Lucy dared to step forward, emboldened by her commitment to her community. We're not afraid of you. We know who we are and what we stand for. You may think this is just business, but this is our home. We're not backing down. The crowd stirred at her words, a wave of support rushing back into the atmosphere. But Riley only smirked, an unsettling glint in his eyes. This isn't over, Lucy. I have friends in high places. You can fight all you want, but when it comes down to it, it's just a matter of time before you see the futility of this little movement. He turned, walking back into the shadows from which he came, leaving behind a mixture of immediate relief and a lurking dread. The crowd erupted into whispers, trying to digest what had just happened. Some were shaking their heads, others murmuring nervously. Lucy felt like her heart was pounding in her throat. We have to stay united. Don't let fear set in, she called out, her voice trembling a bit despite her best efforts. This is our home, we can't let one person scare us away from our dreams. Mia reached for Lucy's hand, her small fingers squeezing tightly. But what if he's right? What if we can't do it? Her eyes brimmed with innocence and anxiety. Lucy knelt beside her, pulling Mia close, forcing herself to breathe deeply. We can, Mia. We can and we will. It's okay to be scared. What matters is that we stand together, and we find strength in that togetherness. A sense of resolve began to solidify amongst the crowd, many joining in to assure each other, voicing their commitments alongside Lucy. Old friends, neighbors, and even the hesitant ones now stood with her, united for their shared future. Despite the burgeoning hope, anxiety hung thick in the air. Lucy's mind raced. What would Riley do? How far was he willing to go? What could he unleash against them? In that moment, she realized she had a choice to make. Let the fear consume her or rise up against it with everything they had. The thought was terrifying, but also invigorating. As they rallied together, a renewed sense of purpose emerged. But Lucy couldn't shake the gravity of what loomed ahead. It felt as if they were dancing on a tightrope, one foot over the abyss, and she feared that if they swayed too much, they could fall into a darkness they might not escape. Just then, someone stepped forward, a figure from the back of the crowd, stepping into the light. The person's jaw was set and determination burned in their eyes. Who could it be, and what did they have to say? Lucy felt the subtle shift in the air, sensing this moment could change everything. What revelation lay ahead, and could it bring them closer to victory or deeper into turmoil? As the figure drew closer, Lucy's anticipation simmered like boiling water. The crowd hushed, eyes darting between Riley's empty retreat and the new arrival with cautious curiosity. A flash of blonde hair, a familiar silhouette. It was Sarah, Lucy's childhood friend, now standing before them, her chin lifted with defiance. A wave of hope surged through Lucy, remembering the bond they once had. Lucy, we can't let him scare us, Sarah said, her voice clear and bold. The memories we cherish, they're not just about the past. They shape our future. Together, we will redefine what Maplewood means. A buzz of agreement rippled through the crowd. A few laughed, emboldened by the fire ignited in Sarah's words. The energy shifted, tension morphing into determination. To honor our past, let us make it evolve. Sarah continued. Riley thinks he can come in here and erase who we are, but together, we're unstoppable. Lucy felt the tension around her melt away, replaced by a unified warmth. This wasn't just her fight anymore, it was a collective heartbeat, strong and resolute, with a renewed sense of purpose. Lucy took a step forward. Sarah's right. This diner, this community, it's a tapestry woven with our stories. We're not just holding on to nostalgia, we're looking to the future. Let us have a rally. Tom chimed in, the excitement in his voice rising. We can invite everyone, let them know we're standing our ground. We'll show them what Maplewood is made of. Cheers erupted again, voices mingling into a chorus of support. The strength and unity was palpable, and each heartbeat felt intertwined like the strings of a strong bow pulled taut, ready to release. Lucy took a deep breath, feeling lighter. Let us organize a day for the Diner Days Festival to celebrate everything we love about this place. We'll invite everyone, share our stories, and share our vision. Together, they brainstormed ideas, excitement crackling through the air like a live wire. Plans took shape as they mapped out activities, themed events, and timelines. They envisioned a day filled with laughter, contests, and community talent, highlighting the hidden gems of Maplewood. Yet, as the whirlwind of enthusiasm washed over her, Lucy couldn't ignore the lurking apprehension. She had seen firsthand how Riley operated, and he was not one to back down easily. Days turned into a blur of activity as plans unfolded. Flyers were printed, and signatures gathered. Local musicians offered to play, artists displayed their work, and even Mrs. Tanner poured her heart into baking her famous pies for the event, eager to contribute to the festival. Kicking off the Diner Days became a symbol that would radiate hope and strength, pushing back against the shadows Riley cast. But the night before it all began, when the diner transformed into a hive of activity, a sense of dread invaded Lucy's mind. Would this be enough? Standing in the middle of the bustling diner, she couldn't shake the feeling that Riley would come back, that he wouldn't sit idly. What if their rally became an easy target for his cunning? She glanced at Jake, who was hanging colorful banners, and the kindness in his eyes steadied her. Are you okay? He asked, reading her fears before she could voice them. Do you think we can really do this, Jake? She breathed, a mixture of hope and anxiety fluttering in her chest. His hand found hers, squeezing reassuringly. Absolutely. Together, we're strong. If he tries to throw a wrench in our plans, we'll be ready. And we have the community behind us. That rekindling warmth spread through her. She was done letting fear dictate her choices. The next day dawned bright and beautiful, sunshine pouring over Maplewood as if to bless their awakening. Festooned with colorful banners, the town felt alive, vibrant, ready for something magnificent to unfold. As they gathered in the park, energy buzzed in the atmosphere. Families arrived, excited chatter filling the air. But as Lucy scanned the crowd, her heart began to race. And then she saw him. Riley stood at the edge, arms crossed, flanked by his associates. Wearing a smirk that sent a chill down her spine. Let us get started. Lucy called, summoning her courage. With every voice rising in harmony, every story shared, they pushed back against the turbulence. Each laughter echoed like a lighthouse against the threat of a storm. When the festival drew to a close, they had created something magical, a tapestry woven from their shared experiences, and Lucy saw what hope and unity truly looked like. They celebrated not just the diner, but each other, transforming their fears into vibrant energy that could not be extinguished. The sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over the gathering like a protective blanket. With adrenaline electrifying her, Lucy spotted Riley trying to approach, frustration evident in his posture. But this time, she felt different, empowered. She stood tall, heart pounding, ready to protect her community. Lucy! He called, voice slick with irritation. You think this makes you untouchable? This is just a show, an illusion. But the crowd rallied behind her, eyes shining with resolve. We're not here for an illusion, we're here for each other. Lucy shouted, adrenaline rushing. We know our worth and our dreams. We won T back down. As echoes of agreement filled the air, Riley's bravado faltered for a moment, revealing a glimpse of vulnerability. Support surged around her, hope brighter than the day itself. With each heartbeat, Lucy felt the promise of a future reborn, a community ignited, ready to embrace whatever came next. The warmth surged within her, love overpowering all doubt. This is just the beginning, she declared, looking into the shining eyes of her neighbors. Together, we'll forge a path no one can erase. In that moment, Lucy found everything she needed. Love, community, and the courage to stand. She was ready for the next chapter, whatever it may bring, and as the first stars twinkled above, she knew each step forward would be taken side by side, united against any storm that crossed their path. Now, when the credits roll, ask yourself, what if your community could be that source of strength too? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, your support matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support this journey.